So is it criminal? Absolutely, it's criminal. It's like if you roll over a bunch of people in a car and kill them all, it's illegal, right? But at the end of the day, it's not clear to me that Sam understands what he did wrong now. Like, for example, what did he do wrong? There's accounting fraud here. There's basically equity fraud by creating an air token. There's all sorts of credit fraud. There's investor fraud, misrepresenting the equity you sold the investors. There's self-dealing. He issued himself loans. There's front running. There's insider trading. There's wash trading. There's such a litany of ethical and legal lapses. But if you look at all the coverage in the crypto world, they miss the fundamental issue, which is it's illegal and unethical to issue your own air token. I mean, that the entire premise of the industry, an exchange that trades unregistered securities and an issuer of unregistered securities, that fundamentally is unethical everywhere in the world, illegal nearly everywhere in the world.
I have two questions.
And yet they built the business on that premise. On top of that premise, then he inflated the accounting values, built backdoors into the exchange. They gave hundreds of millions of dollars to celebrities. They gave hundreds of millions of dollars to academic institutions, hundreds of millions of dollars to politicians, huge amounts of money to journalists, right? Why wouldn't you? Keep in mind, if I can generate $10 billion in air token, in order to make $1 billion a year, all I got to do is take $10 million, lever it up 5 to 1, lean on the liquidity on my own exchange, and the price moves $3 or $4. I get $2 billion more. I made $2 billion in the year in investment income, and then I go and I borrow 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 billion in my margin account. Right? They were counterfeiting money, and then they were using the counterfeit money to steal other money, or either to steal it from their depositors, steal it from their investors, or steal it from creditors. Then they were funneling that into the political and the marketing process. And that's why you saw them on the Super Bowl ad. That's why the FTX arena was named after them. That's why every celebrity is getting sued right now, right? If you can, what business is better than counterfeiting money as a business?
Right.
Okay, so what burst the bubble here? Well, this can't go on forever. And in D.C., there's a war over whether or not the SEC should regulate crypto or whether the CFTC should regulate crypto. So Sam supports a bill, the Stabenow-Boozman bill, and they give huge amounts of money to politicians. And if you read the bill said crypto will be regulated by the CFTC.
What's the CFTC?
The Commodity Futures Trading Commission.
Gotcha. We know what the SEC is.
Okay, the CFTC would regulate if you were trading soybeans or pork bellies or
commodities,
oil or
anything commodities. Got it.
Okay, a commodity is an asset without an issuer. Okay, a commodity is a much more ethical thing to promote and to trade than a security. A security is yo-yo coin or penny stock. I invented it. The difference between a security and a commodity is if I looked at you right now and said, you know, I don't like people in Japan, I'm just going to turn off all their steel. I can't do that, right? I can't make steel not work in Japan. I can't turn off electricity in Japan or turn off oranges, right? So a commodity is an asset without an issuer. No matter how much money you have of pork bellies or lumber, you cannot invalidate somebody else's lumber. Okay, and that's why it's impossible to commit securities fraud.
Is that because those are natural resources
on a commodity?
For the most part? These are natural resources. Everything, lumber, pork, everything.
Because they're again, it's land, right? If I said to you, buy land in Texas, and I was wrong, okay, it's like I didn't create the land in Texas. I can't remove the land in Texas. But what if I said, buy Texas coin? There's only 1 million Texas coins. It's going up. And then you buy Texas coin. And then I go and I give myself 10 million more unlocked Texas coin. I dump it on the market. The price goes to zero. Now, do you feel like you got cheated? You see how it's possible to cheat you with a security because I can manipulate the characteristics of the security. A security is an asset with an issuer. So if you have an asset with an issuer, like for example, a publicly traded stock, like MicroStrategy, MSTR is an asset with an issuer. I have ethical civil obligations, right? You know, if I lie about it, I can't just say, I'm not even going to say what I'm going to say, right? I don't even talk about it. I wouldn't tell you to buy it or not buy it. I would say, read our disclosures. There's 1,000 pages of risk factors. Everybody on the board of directors, everything we've done, everything we think we're going to do. If we change our mind about what we're going to do, you're going to read it in an 8K within 4 business days, because I have an obligation to be transparent on a security. But on the other hand, if I say, I really think you ought to stock up on lumber in case, you need to burn it this winter, I'm promoting a commodity. Maybe you stock up on lumber and you overpay for it. Maybe you stock up on lumber and you don't need it during the winter, right? Did I defraud you? I'm promoting lumber. Maybe I gave you bad advice, but the difference between promoting lumber and promoting lumber coin is I can print 100 trillion lumber coin, on Saturday night and dump it on you and drive your lumber coin to zero. I can't create 100 trillion forest overnight by snapping my fingers. It's a natural phenomenon. So coming back to this crypto issue, you had a little war between the two factions, and the right answer is, if you're selling a crypto security, it should be regulated by the SEC. If you have a crypto commodity, then it's not a security. Now the question is, what's a crypto commodity? The chair of the SEC has said the only crypto asset that's clearly a commodity is Bitcoin. The chair of the CFTC had said, as of a few months ago, the only crypto assets that are commodities are Bitcoin and Ether. But Ethereum's not really a commodity. Ethereum is a security, and that has been a big fight in the community below the surface. As of last Wednesday, the chair of the CFTC went to Princeton, gave a speech, and said, the only crypto asset which I deem as a commodity is Bitcoin. So now you have the CFTC and the SEC and certain other regulators, the head of Treasury, the head of the Federal Reserve, all of them, in essence, endorsing Bitcoin as a commodity and leaving us to figure out what we're going to do with the securities and the currencies that exist in the system. The thing that brought FTX crashing down is that Sam went to D.C., spent a lot of money on lobbyists, lobbied for this bill that would have made both Bitcoin and Ethereum commodities and would have put the CFTC in control, would have created light regulation, would have created a path for other crypto tokens to be viewed as commodities. And in addition to giving a lot of money to the media, a lot of money to the academics, a lot of money to the politicians, and a lot of money to the celebrities, he also inserted in the bill that the crypto exchanges would send fees to the CFTC. And they, in essence, try to bribe the CFTC with crypto usage fees in order to get light regulation. That didn't go over well.